Welcome to my build. Finally getting the turbo back on the bike today, so I'm quite excited about that. So the turbo of choice is a GT15 by Garrett. And for those of you who like some figures, so sticking a turbo on your MT-07 adds about 50 horsepower to it. Or at least this modification I'm doing does. So it's going to bring it up to about 110 horsepower as well, which is pretty tasty. Certainly can make you feel like you're going to fall off the back of the bike, which can be fun sometimes. And as the turbo bolts onto the end of the exhaust pipe on this, I'm going to get the exhaust pipe headers in. I'm going to wear my black gloves, which is, again, unusual for me. But the paint hasn't fully cured on the exhaust pipe, so I'm being extra careful that I don't leave fingerprints all over it. I'm just going to get them loosely on, as I'm going to need to wiggle the turbo and everything around for a little while. As far as I'm aware, with exhaust pipes, the headers, you don't really want to do them up till like right at the end, because wiggling your exhaust pipe at the other end doesn't have to put a lot of leverage on an aluminium head, and you don't really want to fuck your head up. They're expensive. Even on a little bike like an MT-07, they're expensive. It's weird seeing this in without the rear pegs being on, because it looks really different. I think it's in slightly the wrong place as well, somehow. The only problem is, I think that block of wood's in my way. Well, the block of wood's definitely in the way, but the exhaust pipe does sit just there. Just need to rethink this somehow. Okay, that's good. I should. Let me get that one. Okay, let's make it. So, if I remember rightly, you're best off getting that intake on first, but you do remember to put the clamp on. Is that for that? A 4851. That's a 4855. These are just stainless steel exhaust pipe clamps if you haven't seen them before. I just like them better than Jubilee clips. So I'm going to get it on the intake first. Oh, what in the throat. You know what? Now I'm not lifting on this peg. I'm going to take it off. Oh God, Carl Pilkington is so funny. I've definitely gone in on the wrong angle. Just thought of something. I decided to put the intake tube on separately because I realised that I couldn't get my socket ratchet in to do up the pinch bolt on the clamp at the top of the intake. So this side I'm working on at the minute would be classed as the cold side because that's the compressor output from the turbo going up to the plenum, which is that red bit with the skull on it, sitting where the airbox should be. And I'm just giving it a bit of a double check that my suspension linkage can move up and down fully without grating up and down the side of that tube. And it's this one. I can go down here because there's more room. So that little oil line you can see coming out the bottom of the turbo there, that's the oil line that goes to the engine that supplies the turbo and keeps the turbo cool, well, as cool as the turbo can be. So it lubricates the bearings and such. You notice there's a big gash in the side of my intake there. I had a bit of an accident going around the corner where I managed to hit a pothole on an English country road. and yeah, the side load or whatever just sheared my bracket for my turbo in half, and I didn't realise. And I was riding along, and things started feeling a bit funny, and I pulled over and had a look, and yeah, my turbo was hanging down.
9. And even a 9. Oh, maybe I picked up the 11 instead. Yeah, I must have picked up the 11 because that fits that one perfectly too.
So this has a metal gasket between the exhaust pipe and the turbo. I can only assume it's because it gets so fucking hot there. I need to replace this, but it hasn't turned up yet. And using the old one will be fine for now. I want to get this to a point where I can start my bike and see if that engine actually turns over and everything works before committing too much of my life to doing up some of these things. So I might have to take this back off. I don't want to ruin the gasket, but once the turbo and everything's bolted in place, you can slide the exhaust pipe straight off the front, change the gaskets, because I haven't done the ones in the headers either, and then slide it back on, do it all up. So it's not a big deal. It's just a case of wiggling the turbo and getting the last 3 bolts done up. 2 of the bolts go through the exhaust pipe one way and bolt actually into the turbo, and the final bolt's just a bolt with a nylock nut. Well, I say nylock, it's not a nylock nut. It's like the ones that you get on your sprocket and your suspension, like the ones with the little metal tabs in them. I can't remember what they're called. So on my turbo as well, that little tube that you can see coming off, that basically goes from the turbo back into itself, that's where my wastegate is. It's basically comes off the output of the compressor and goes into the wastegate, which is like a safety override. And if you make too much boost pressure, then instead of ramming it into your engine, it opens the wastegate and bleeds off the pressure, which is good because this turbo actually makes more pressure than my engine can handle, and I don't want to blow my engine to bits. So wastegate is the safety override. The open hole you can see on the turbo, that's where it sucks air in. Obviously, you don't want to leave that open. It's got to go through a filter. That'll come at a later date because I need to get the swing arm on. As the swing arm goes around the turbo and the exhaust pipe, like kind of wiggles between it, I need that to be on to tighten everything, because as you can see from the mark, I can't have anything rubbing, because that's going to bring bad times. So I need to get the swing arm on next. I just need to finish painting it. It is nearly done, so hopefully in the next one I'll show my swing arm off or something. And on that note, there we are. Turbo is happily sitting on. Still got the clamps to put on it, still got the intake to put on it. But let's get the swing arm done, get everything put around it, and then, yeah, off we go. On to the next bits. But there it is. Turbo back on the bike. Happy days. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch you in a motherfucking bit.